Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing some work on a household hot water boiler for a hydronic heat system. A lot of places don't have these anymore. A lot of them have propane fired ones or electric ones. This one's a Weil Mclain 68 boiler. I believe the model number, there it is, P-468-W on the tag. And all we're really doing today is going to be cleaning it out. Should be done maybe annually or every couple of years, depending on how much you use it, how long it's been since the last time it was used. Maybe you're not even using it in your place if you have one. Maybe you just want to know how to clean it out. So here's what we've got, and we'll be covering it. See, first things first, there's some of these models have a side access point. If you look, you can kind of see where it would be, where the tin is shaped for an access port there, but this one doesn't have that. I've taken this off before, and there's nothing in there to get into the heat exchanger parts. This one only has the top access point, so this tin on top is going to have to come off. We're going to be taking that off. That's real easy. It's just a couple of screws in the back here. I got them loose to make sure that they actually come off. Well, it's been a few years since I was actually in here taking this thing apart, so I'm going to go ahead and open that cover, and I'm going to try to find somewhere to mount this camera. Hey everybody, before I forget, when you are about to start up a maintenance project like this or a repair project like this, make sure you know where the sources of power are on the system. Just make sure that you're safe. Shut off the power. Verify that the power is off, either using a voltmeter or a trusted circuit tester. And just be sure that what you're doing is in a safe condition for yourself. Every one of these systems is different. Just make sure the power's off and you're not putting yourself in harm's way. Okay, I just wanted to say that before we get started. Alright, I might have found a spot here to mount the camera, so I'm going to go ahead and begin. Start by taking these screws the rest of the way out. We'll see what we got going in here. Make sure we set the screws somewhere. We don't lose them. There's just a Phillips headed screw in each corner. There we go. This cover, if I remember right, slides off, kind of pops off. Wiggle it. Oh, it's really on there. I'll take a screwdriver. All I got handy is my multi-tool here. There we go. That did it. Just kind of stuck in the front is all. You have to clean that off. These systems get quite dirty. They're always in a basement or an attic or wherever. They always seem to accumulate a massive amount of dust and debris and soot. So this here is the access plate. As you see, this will get us into the spot where the heat exchanger is. You see it's sealed with like a fiberglass with a foil on one side. Chances are when you take this off, that foil is going to stick and rip apart. I'm going to try to keep it in one piece. If it rips on me, I'll have to order the replacement foil backed fiberglass to put on here. You got to maintain that seal. The exhaust gases are actually present in here, so you don't want to chance any of that being able to get out. forget where you set your screws and bolts. Last time I was in here, I replaced both of these bolts with stainless steel ¼ hardware. Looks like they were supposed to have a washer on there. I must not have done that last time. Maybe I can find a washer around here when I put these back in. I don't know how I would have missed that, but who knows. Alright, now we'll see if we can get this to come up in one piece. I know last time it ripped all to pieces, but this one's only been in here for a couple of years now. Kind of stuck on the one end. There we go. Not too bad. I'd say that's in good enough shape to reuse. We need to see in there. Get out a flashlight here. I'll just use the phone. Oh, it's pretty heavy soot. I had this boiler tuned after the last time I had it cleaned out. And the guy that came out and tuned it set it just right, just per specs. So I don't know, maybe I gotta have him come back out, dial it in. Maybe I'll show him this video so he can determine what the problem is, if there's a problem with the air-fuel mixture. Otherwise, I've got this cleaning tool. It's made for cleaning out boilers. This one's actually a nylon brush. It's not very stiff. It's pretty dirty, but could be worse. We'll see if we can get that in there. You see it's got kind of an oblong cross section that's made to fit between these grooves in the heat exchanger, all these fingers in the heat exchanger. I don't know if you can see that there, but we're working on knocking all that soot down. Dropped it. Tight space. Ooh. Ooh, I know I've got another one of these that's maybe a steel brush. Maybe I should start with that one as I'm cleaning. See, we're knocking a lot of this soot down. So the second part of this is going to be access from the front where the burner is. And when I access that, and I'll show you all that, I'll have to vacuum it out. This is a pretty involved project, maybe more than the do-it-yourselfer wants to get into, but a lot of those heating repair companies or furnace repair companies charge just an arm and a leg for this stuff. You got $400 or $500 between cleaning and balancing your combustion and everything else. There's more in the back. I'll have to vacuum it out from the top too. I know I won't be able to get the shop vac to fit in there for how dirty it is. Really should get in there with something. It's doing pretty good. Just this nylon brush. It's doing pretty good at knocking it all down. Can you see anything there? Yeah, you can kind of see in there. Get this next row over. If you go at just the right angle, it glides right in. But unfortunately, to get that right angle, that perfect angle, I got a pipe right in the way. That'll never fail. There'll always be a pipe right in your way. This is the second or third year we've been using this boiler since having it serviced last. I thought it was second, but now after looking at all this soot, Thinking back to when I actually called that company to have them come out and tune it, I'm thinking this is probably 3 years. I know the last time I did it, the crud was built up so thick. Crud was built up so thick on there, you could have scooped it out with a spoon, just by the spoonful. Probably shouldn't do that. The soot that's on the heat exchanger here, the heat exchanger is the part in the middle with all the little bumps on it. Those are for capturing heat that's in the exhaust gases from the combustion below. And if they're all covered in soot, the problem you have is that they can't transfer heat. That's no good. I'm still knocking a lot down there. I know the last time I did this, it took a long time with the steel brush to get all the little knobbies clean. As far as I know, you don't want to use any solvents. I wouldn't use any compressed air, especially if the boiler you're cleaning is in your home. So you're going to take all that nasty soot and blow it all over the house. I think I pushed these little bits out of here. That's like a refractory or a fire block or a fire stop cement. I might have to get some to replace that. Make a good seal on there again. It's not looking too bad. A lot better than it was. If you did this every couple of years, it wouldn't be so hard. Is that any better? I think my camera is starting to slide. Get you a better view there. There isn't a whole lot to see here. It's just important that you clean it quite thoroughly. I'm try to find that steel brush that I have. Oh, here we go. As I recall, this one did a really good job. It might be a little overkill, but let's give it a try. Let's see what it does. Maybe it'll shine it up or something. Who knows? Ooh, that's hard to push. Yeah, you can really only get that one in at that certain angle where those fingers off the heat exchanger line up. You just keep moving a row at a time if you can. We'll clean it up from the bottom too. what do you think? Did I get it well enough? I'm glad to see it's not as bad as it was last time. Tells me that it's better than it was. I mean, as far as the settings, the running, the efficiency, we're not creating as much soot. Although I guess last time I checked it, I don't know how many years it had been since it was checked last. That was the first time. If I did it 3 years ago, then I had lived in the house for 5 years before that without checking it. And that's just too long. This is something should be done every couple of years for sure. And I kind of let it get away from me. But you guys saw how bad it was. It wasn't terrible. It was a little sooty. I was really hoping it'd just be nice and spotless. It's not like that was going to happen. Oh. Oh. So these are cast iron heat exchangers in here. For a long, long time, they were always cast iron. You can still get cast iron heat exchangers on a boiler. More commonly now, especially in the higher efficiency ones, the better ones, you see a lot of stainless steel. They're tuned a bit more precise. They run at higher efficiency. You don't get the soot buildup like this. I'm sure there's still a cleaning schedule on them, but I don't know nothing about this. This Weil Mclain 68 boiler was a pretty common boiler. And you see a lot of information online, but you go to look up parts and you'll find information about it being discontinued and no parts available. And you really got to hunt around for a place that has old parts still in stock. There you go. You don't want to breathe that in. You can help it. Try to see around. Look around the other side. Doesn't look like there's really anything to be concerned about. I don't see any signs of cracks. I don't see any water leaking. There's no water under the unit on the floor, so I think it looks okay. We'll run it for another couple of years. Alright. I gotta seal this back up. We'll take the multi-tool. How's that? Is that any better? Yeah, kind of see what's going on. Now I'm going to plan on, since I'm opening that new tube of caulk, I'm going to repair it all the way back to this seam. Looks like someone tried to repair that there. That was kind of built up. Didn't look right, although I guess they did it there too. Who knows? There we go. Not as exciting as working on the mud truck, but it's all got to get done before winter. I'll have to repair this one a little ways back. Maybe we'll fill that seam on top. There we go. Give it a surface to bond to. get to that. For this part, we're going to use the furnace cement and fireplace mortar. It's for gasketing, mortar joints, wood stoves, it says, for use with fire brick. It says on the other side, or somewhere around here, I just saw it, rated to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and I know my boiler runs at, I want to say it's 680 degrees Fahrenheit, so I'm pretty confident that that'll be more than enough. But make sure you check with your boiler manufacturer before you settle on the correct compound. This might not even be the correct one, but it's going to work today. I see I've got plenty of space to get it in there. I'll just seal that back up. Maybe I should do the part in the crack more, seeing as how we can't get to that once we close it up. Having a lot of problems with this caulk gun and this tube of caulk and the last tube of caulk. Really causing me some headache here. Now the tube is leaking out from the back side, so kind of got a bit of a mess on our hands. But oh well. Just a big old gob there. We'll have to try to scrape that down maybe once it sets up some. We want to leave it in that crack. It looks like we filled that crack pretty well. It seems like the trick to this, if you end up having to do something along these lines, is to smear it. We'll worry about cleaning it up and making it look pretty when we're all done. I just want to get it into place. Soot on there too. So your situation may be different, but I know how much draft my chimney creates when firing. I know it's quite a bit. That's 2 stories up from here, the top of the chimney, the outlet. And so once it warms up, it creates quite a bit of draft, which is that suction caused by heat rising. And you should always check it with a meter. Meter's kind of spendy sometimes. I got a real nice one. I forget who makes it. Comes in a little leather case. Comes in a little leather case and has a couple little aluminum tubes for checking the draft. Just trying to match the contour of the cast iron here. Feel like even though that might not look as good, it's better than what was on there before. That stuff was all cracked. A couple of them I busted out. not the easiest stuff to work with, but you just mash it in, you can feel it. You can feel it grip. As long as we get good adhesion on here, we don't have to worry about it cracking off anytime soon. Might have to chip it flat once it's all set into place. Looks like this stuff has about a 10-minute learning curve. Alright. Well, after thinking about it a little bit, I've decided I'm going to put this foil piece back on, and it should match the contour. We'll see about getting that back on there right. Really fills up the space quite nice. And we'll let that all harden into place. There we go. There we go. It's just over a little further. I'm going to go ahead and tighten those down. We'll seal the top up. I never did find any washers for those. Oh well. Held up just fine for the last 3 years. I'll make it another couple of years. I'd almost guarantee that the next time I go to open this, this foil will be stuck down into this cement that I used on here. And that's okay. We'll plan on getting a new one and scraping it off. I'm really probably only a couple years away from getting a new high efficiency boiler. One of those stainless steel heat exchanger ones that we were talking about. And then I won't have to worry about that. For now, this is just fine. Try to put this cover back on as well as I can. That went on easier than it came off. Okay, I've got these 2 Phillips head screws to put in here. And this will conclude our cleaning from the top. Yeah, we're just stripped out, but they're just sheet metal screws. I didn't get this one on all the way. There we go. That's what was holding it up. Now that the top's all put back together, we gotta see what we can see down below. I don't know how I'm going to do this with the camera yet. Alright, and we're back. Got a little more light on the situation here. Now we can begin. That's assuming I've got the right socket, now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, that's on there. Alright, we might be able to make this work then. So, let's see, where can I put this? I'll try to highlight where I'm taking screws and bolts out or nuts out or whatever. Looking at this system, I can loosen these. Here. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Aside from having this apart just a couple of years ago, I also sprayed these with, well, that wasn't really supposed to happen, but whatever. Always make sure you got a good clean work area. Going for the top left nut. I'm sure it's the same thing. Yep, it's just going to be threading the stud out. See in there, that's where I'm working on that one. Now if we come down here, this will be the bottom left one. And then, it's a hard one to get to here. Way down here. There's the bottom right one next to the drain. Now we don't need to drain anything for this. I don't know if I said that already. The power's off. But, oh, you know what? This copper line here comes from the fuel oil tank. We need to disconnect that before we can take this unit off of here. And you know what? I need to disconnect the electrical cable also. If I come over here, it's no problem for me. There it is. I know just under this primary control that I have on here, Honeywell R7284 oil primary control, it's just spliced together there to provide power. So I'll work on getting that broke loose and then we can keep going. Maybe. A boiler repair is a lot like a plumbing repair. No matter what you do, you're going to get in way over your head. It's going to cost you more than you want. You're going to unintentionally break something, and it's going to take a lot longer than you had planned. Also, if you ever make one trip to the hardware store, forget it. Plumbing trips, electrical trips, you might as well plan 3 trips. Because you're going to forget something, or you're going to find out later that you needed something. There we go. Alright. I'll show you guys this junction box here underneath the controller. With those 2 screws off. There we go. It looks overwhelming. It's not. That one stays there. That goes to the unit. Here we go. Here's our neutral coming from the aquastat. Ooh, that was really twisted together. That was a few years ago I did this. And when you need it right now, you're not so worried about later. Just twist it together. Hope it works. It's just hard doing this with one hand, that's all. Maybe I'll set this down. Try to get that flashlight up here. Maybe it will help us out, maybe not. Probably won't hurt anything. There we go. Remove the lock nut. What did I say? Shorter one goes to limit. See if I get that right when I put it back in. Worst case, I can always watch the video. Alright. Let's see here. Now we don't need to go any further into this unit here, into the ignition or into the actual burner itself. We just needed that disconnected so that we can take this whole cover off. I got one bolt off up here. Actually nuts on studs, but they came off like a bolt with the nut seized to the stud. And then I've got the other 3 to take off, and then this whole unit will come straight out. And then I can vacuum out all that soot, and I can clean it from the bottom. And we can do all of those things the right way. First, I got to get this off of here. So we'll see. And now I was able to get this to break loose using this. Oh, I see oil starting to bead up. I better reach over and shut off the tank. Now that may not stop the flow of fuel oil out of here, but it'll definitely slow it down. Nope, this is not the right tool for this. You think I can find the right one around here? You're crazy. But it works. You're going to get a little fuel oil on the floor. And on your hands. And on your tools and your camera and everything. Now, back to taking those nuts off. Here we go. Wow, that one slipped right off. What were the odds of that? I might have ran a die over that stud last time I had this off to clean up those threads. That sounds familiar. Okay. And the bottom one. Yeah, I must not have just must have not done it on the top two. I suppose I probably wasn't able to get the nut off of the stud at that time either. Fuel oil. Oh, there it is. All right. Now the last one. See what's going on here. Oh, that's heavy. A lot of cast iron there. There we go. Wow. So, not as bad as I was picturing, but you see that white in the back is the containment, is the, what do I want to say, the heat block. And then on the bottom there's some a pad of it that makes up the whole of the firebox here. There's quite a bit of soot on it, probably from cleaning it out mostly. we're just going to vacuum that off the bottom there. I have to get my shop vac set up for dry vacuuming. Alright, I got the shop vac all set up. It's going to be noisy. All I'm going to do is try to suck all that dust up without disturbing the bottom material. So, we'll see. Here we go. Okay, now that we got that all cleaned out, or cleaned out well enough, could be a little better up there I guess, but not too bad. We got all that pile of soot out from the bottom. That's about as good as we could hope for. Let's see if we can see up in there. Yeah, could be better. Yeah, same here. Oh well. We just got to put the cover back on now. This big one here, there's not really much room for me to work down here. I'm in my basement and yeah, it's kind of cramped over here. I got the fuel oil tank against my back. So let's see if I can set this down. I can hardly see. There's a good spot if it will stay. We'll try to get that on. And one of these studs back in on the top. Oh, that's right, the gasket. Got to make sure that the gasket rope or gasket material or whatever you got on yours goes on just right. It's important for the seal. Oh. Yeah, that gasket's on there. Guess how much better could I have hoped for there? Not too bad. I'll crank it down tight too. Mash that gasket back into place. Try to get all these started. There's that fuel oil again running down my arm. That's always good. pretty good. The nuts all look like they're in the same spot as far as how tight they are. I want a little more. That one's good. Doesn't look too bad. Make sure we really crank that down. And then to check for leaks, I'm going to go ahead and turn the fuel oil back on at the tank behind me here. There we go. Then if there's a leak, maybe we'll find it while we're still sitting here instead of halfway through the heating season. There we go. We'll make up that electrical connection. Not too bad. Let's see here. Said the short one went to the limit. All right. All of the wiring is back in place. The oil primary control is back in place. So that should just about do it for today. We've got the clean out completed on here. There's only a couple of things left to do before this heating season starts. We've got to change out the orifice on the burner, and then we also have to change out the filter for the fuel oil, as well as flush out the fluid from the system and refill it to include boiler chemical. I use an 8-way boiler treatment if I can still get it, and that seems to be doing pretty well in past years. So that will probably be done in another video, but this concludes the clean out of the Weil Mclain P-468-W boiler. I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.